got a taste of you guys or whatever, man, and how you guys were kind of fusing the jazz and all that type of stuff, man. But I remember running into to Dinko D years ago, and he was telling me how y'all influenced leaders of the new school. And
yeah, see, the thing about them guys, man, Dinko Fly, I love them guys too, because it was mutually admiration even back then, because, you know, they were Cypher, they were down with battling and stuff, C. Brown and Buster. But, you know, if it wasn't the fellowship, it definitely was the leaders in the new school when you're talking about those backgrounds.
Right.
The group backgrounds was the shit back then. We was into that. We was like trying to make that shit tight too, man. I love it.
And that was such a dope thing, man, because I know like y'all were known for that. I know LONS was known for that. I know Onyx tried to kind of use a little bit of that too, you know, with that heads up, you know what I'm saying, with that background.
I love them. I love it though. I love it because it came off good on stage.
Definitely.
And it just added more emphasis, you know, and back then cats wasn't seriously multi-tracking their solo leads, but that's where the group members would come in and emphasize a word or two.
No doubt. No doubt.
They need to bring that back. I like that.
They do. They certainly do, man. But check it, man. Take me back to the 80s, man. Let's say 87, 88, crack era, you know what I'm saying? Right into the riots era. That was kind of when you was really coming into your own as an artist, as a professional artist, right? I know you did some ghost writing for some people that ended up doing some stuff.
Yeah, that's right around that time. I'm like 15, and I've been living on my own since I was 15. I grew up in foster homes. Moved in with my mom at 9, and, you know, I hung out with her till about 15, and she put me out. Moved to crack house, you know, working, had 2 jobs, everything else. But, you know, a little while there, I had a little sack, fuck with that poison and shit, whatever. But, yeah, you also had like ultra wave, you know, the preppy kind of scene, even though I couldn't get in when I would wear my B-boy clothes. I was still exposed to, you know, different forms of music and events, going to clubs, sneaking in like to Fridays, The Fever, Hollywood Live, you know, the little clubs back then, Last Shot, you know, and then later on, Water the Bush, United Nations stuff. However, in that era, you know, I would go to school and I would write. I remember writing rhymes with cats like Bo Bill, different MCs, and then I met these dudes, Zave and Sean Rappenstein, and their producer, Quarter Rock Tim. And it went from me doing my thing to them having a little action and audience with Dre. And I'm like, oh, okay. I fucks with Dre. I fucks with Easy and them, because since I was like, I don't know, I always hung out at the Crenshaw Swap Meet, but like 15, 16, I started really hanging because when I was 15, I battled Kool D, because I heard he had just battled AC and Spoon. And Kool D, a.k.a. Don Jaguar, a.k.a. Earl the Poet, had the hot dog stand over there at the Crenshaw Swap Meet off of Marlton and King.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I go there, hang out, we rap and stuff. And so from that point, I had already been going either to the Crenshaw Swap Meet to try to sell my little cassette tapes and stuff, or going to the Rhodium Swap Meet. So, of course, at the Rhodium, I'm a bump of the Easy and them, because they doing the same thing. And I had already met Warren G when I was like 14 and he was 13 or something. And we both too scared to get on stage and rap while Dre spinning, you know, on the platform truck, you know, for Uncle Jam's Army.
Right.
And, you know, back in his glove days and stuff. And then I was like, you're not going up? He's like, nah, I mean, I might. And he's like, and that's my cousin too. I'm like, oh shit, well, whatever. Like, well, shit, we should have action, but you're still kind of shy. You know, it took a lot of heart back then, you know, to give a pep rally, a motherfucking talent show or something, rapping in front of people. You know, that's why I think we shouted, and a lot of that battle anger, because that was the only emotion we kind of control doing it right. So anyway, around that time, I'm writing rhymes, cats here, there, you know, and I would just write raps for people. They give me like $20, $50, whatever. That's how I was making my money outside of working and slanging. So, you know, in exchange for some studio time for me to do my demos and stuff, I wrote a couple rhymes, wrote quite a few rhymes, and also had to teach them how to rap, because they were kind of like singer dance rappers, Rappenstein. There was another Rappenstein, and it was also the Rappeteers, not to be confused. Because when I played basketball, especially in junior high, high school, the high schools, I went to a 4A division. So we went to every high school, and every high school had an MC, and I battled every MC there. And you know, that's how my name kind of got around as Microphone Mike. And so around that same period, I wrote a couple songs and some stuff, and I ended up getting placement on the Rapid Star got placement on the NWA and the Posse project.
Right.
It was like their first album or whatever. I think they had one or two of them before they consolidated NWA as the group.
Right.
So I would think I was on one of the first albums to this day. I know there was a song called Scream. There was a couple other songs that I wrote that was on one or two or something, or B-side, I don't know. But they still got my name in parentheses, M. Troy. And I never got paid. You know, I got $50 or something. And I remember when Easy was alive, we laugh about it. And he'd be like, well, I owe you, kid. You know, we would play Jamaican-style dominoes at the hot dog stand where you go backwards.
Yep.
And then I remember one time Easy was like, why don't you come with me to this party up in the hills and shit? So I went with him party up in the hills. Shout out Born Law. He was just leaving the party. Back then he was Mustafa.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Movement X.
Yeah, Movement X. Shout out King Born as well. So we get up there to the hills, like, wait, before we go in, I want to play you something. So he's playing me some dudes, and they rapping, right? And he was like, "Oh, you ever heard of Bone Thugs?" I was like, "Yeah." But I was like, "This don't sound like them." But they sound different. Oh, they kind of get melodic with they shit, little harmonics with they shit. I was like, all right. I was like, yeah, you should sign them. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, well, shit, that'll keep another door open for my style. Even though I have many styles, I was already chopping back then, and I was already melodic and doing what I do. So I'm like, okay, well, he has an interest in that. Maybe there could be a lane for me. You dig? Because I hadn't, at that time, had any major record deals yet or whatever. And by then, I started having little deals here and there. By the time he played that was like, what, 90, early 90s, something. But well, like 94 and something like that, 93, whatever. But going back to NWA and that stuff, I'm Dre, you know what I mean, from just, eventually getting brave enough to get on stage and bust a little bit here and there, but not quite able to keep a solid place to live or solid numbers. So whenever I exchange with him or whatever, I just kind of disappear. Yellow was cool. Ren, he was cool. Homies, you know what I mean? But later on, after Easy passed, rest in peace, that kind of hurt. I used to write rhymes for RBX, for example. And this was late 80s, early 90s, like circa 89, 90. And he had a deal with Bulletproof Records. And that's where I met Snoop, because he lived around the corner from Snoop. Snoop is his cousin. Right. So it's really whatever, right? So, and Snoop was just getting his raps going. He called us on the three-way and stuff and come over and crash on the couch, kick it, because I used to stay with Lord Create, who was RBX's DJ and producer at the time. But they had a nice budget of Bulletproof, and so I was able to get paid writing stuff, and that was kind of how I earned my keep. And so on through the years, that familiarity and that connection stayed close. Mind you, RBX didn't need nobody to write his shit. He was an excellent writer, but he was already, decades ahead where he didn't, he could just appreciate working with people more like a jazz musician. So shout out RBX, shout out Snoop. So then what happened was, I think the last time I actually hit with Drake, because I used to do art direction too on the side, moonlight and do like set design and, props and stuff like that for videos. And so, occasionally I'd be hired or our production crew would be hired by Drake for this or that video. And he would always be like, why are you working behind the scenes? You're supposed to be in front of the camera, this and that. And back in the day when we did the To Whom It May Concern, for example, he wanted to sign us and he wanted to just basically, we thought he wanted to remix it and change the album, but come to find out later, he just wanted to run everything through the SSL board and just boss everything up. Right. He wanted to remix it like that, like remaster it or whatever. You know what I mean?
He just wanted to make
and
it
so, by the time we got these deals coming around with Island, they were putting together the death row. Mind you, I knew Suge, because I knew RBX and them, they all, Bigger B, rest in peace, because they all was out there in Las Vegas, football, this, that, the other.
Right.
And so I he's from Vegas, so we used to go back and forth creating, as well as doing raves and moving doses and everything else I used to do as a kid, and these guys, they just turned me on to a lot of good music, good house music I was into, good dance hall, good jazz. So the jazz and the dance hall and electro music and the hip hop kind of helped formulate my style. So later on, let's say 96, 97, so like that, RBX took me down there to meet the boss, about meet Dre again. He was like, man, I can't believe you still ain't on with Dre all these years. And then I go there and I rap my heart out. And then everybody in the room is just floored. And they're like, Calabasas. I'm like, why do you keep saying Calabasas? So I guess Dre has a studio in Calabasas. So I guess I got that green light to go with him there. But then I was supposed to go that following week and start working on the project, but I ended up going to jail. I wasn't in jail that long, maybe 6, 7 months, 9 months. But when I came out, I was kind of a changed man. You know, I'd been to jail before quite a few times, but like not that long, which wasn't long comparative to how people, you know, be getting football numbers and stuff. Shout out all my people still in there, by the way. But I just needed to come out and kind of regroup and get my thing together. I had to look for a place, this, that, whatever. And just kind of, you know, fell off. But by then, I had custody of my daughters. That was taking a lot of time from me. And we was just starting to crew up again because we did the second Fellowship album. And then I was in New York for a while, came back 95, you know, 96. Then come like 96, 97, we're doing Haiku d'Etat. And that's me, AC, and Abstract Rude, you know, with a band. And this is at the advent of Pro Tools. So
yeah.
Around that time, however, we was doing that. I went to jail. And so, but I'd see Dre, talk to Dre every now and then. And, you know, still nothing but love. But obviously there were other MCs that came in and kind of filled certain slots that I think I could have filled or whatever. But, you know, much success and congrats to all these cats. You know, they all still show me love and respect. So that's pretty much the NWA connected kind of reality. I want to shout out, you know, rest in peace to DJ True. He was the one with the raccoon hat on the album cover for NWA and the Posse. And LA Cool, that was his brother.
Right.
He was the one holding the bat. So even though they weren't on the record audio-wise for that particular one, they did music and stuff around that era. And, you know, they're part of that lore and also part of my underground, you know, or worldwide, whatever you want to call it, Project Blow, Good Life collective.
Right. That's the amazing thing about, I think, LA artists. There's such a 6 degrees of separation. Everybody's connected somehow, some way. And that, like how I met you through Mean Green, right? And I know you got to
Green, rest in peace, man.
To my man. But like, he was the one that was really pushing me towards how I ended up being known to everybody or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was the reason why I took the Western Hemisphere too.
They didn't want nothing to Michael Myers, man. Nobody wanted, they didn't want to face you, man. I'm trying to tell you. I remember them days you just destroy the radio. I'd be on the radio station dropping it. I don't know what you was doing, the wake up shows, that stuff,
wake up to all of
that stuff. Come on now. Oh shit, my phone dying. Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
Are we still in? All right, let me plug it up. But yeah, Green, man, and Western Hemisphere, Cass, Voodoo, you know.
Yeah, it was, and it's crazy because like I grew up with
taking the skills well beyond Good Life and Lyricist Lounge and Dropping Science.
Right.
Hold on, sorry.
I got you.
All right, try to balance this phone piece. I need to grab my other thing, my little holder.
So yeah, I knew Razcat. Razcat's lived in my neighborhood. And so he introduced me to Voodoo. Voodoo introduced me to Green. Green introduced me to the world. You know what I'm saying? Because he was the one.
It was Green, you know, it was Green.
You know Green. So
it was Green and Ganja K, rest in peace, Bombay, Seaweed, Mark the Murderer, that's what he called himself back then. He called himself Dank Will now. Napalm, that was Steve. He used to be fat ass from KLD, I remember.
Yeah.
Shout out Napalm. Tyreek, Jero, and you know, Teen, we used to call him Mean Green Teen. And Green, he was definitely a pillar in the hip hop community. Just to make a note, he was I think I went to the Radiotron the first time with him. We played hooky from Birmingham, went out there, and he was like, Mike, you gotta come. He used to write Case One. And me and Green, we go back to like, I want to say Baldwin, because we used to play ball for Baldwin Park, or he might have played for Vineyard. You know, so we go back to like we ages. I got to shout out Malcolm Jamal Warner. He was on our team too.
Right. That's funny.
He's an excellent musician, excellent orator.